Hey guys, it's Sid here with SVTperformance.com, and I'm here with Joe from 5 Bar Motorsports. He's going to take us around and show us a little bit about this car he's put together. I know you guys have probably seen it on YouTube. You guys have your own channel covering this thing.
5 Bar Motorsports, yep.
So just give us a little brief overview. I mean, the guys might not know exactly what they're looking at, but it's kind of special.
Yeah, so this is actually a stock Godzilla 7.3 out of the 2020 and up F250s, F350s. It's a bone stock motor. We did tear it apart and through we actually did a VCT lockout, and we actually gapped all the top rings so we can handle the boost. Pretty much other than that, it's a bone stock motor. We have some fuel rails from Paul's High Performance that helped us out with that. 88 millimeter turbo 400 with a 9-inch, and see how fast we can get it.
So previously this car had a 3-valve in it. Did you guys do much racing with that?
Yeah, so 3-valve had roughly about 1,300 horsepower. Back in 2015, we went 850s with it on like its very first pass. Really didn't get it out too much after that. Just the shop's been going crazy, so we've been doing a bunch of that stuff. So we figured, hey, we wanted to spice some stuff up, so we decided on the Godzilla. Everybody does the LS swap, so we wanted to be a little different. But yeah, I think we achieved being different for sure.
So how would you say this thing hits versus the 3-valve you guys had in the car previously?
The torque really hits pretty good. The the 3-valve had some decent torque, but it took a little RPM to get there. This makes torque pretty much instantly. Does pretty good. We're gonna see if we can click off at 8 this weekend. So.
And I'm guessing you guys are probably on a short list to get a cam for this thing too, aren't you?
Correct. Yeah, we actually have Brian Wolf from Willis Enterprises. He's actually got a cam, heads, all kinds of stuff coming for us. We're actually building another motor. It's going to be a fully forged motor, obviously. Aluminum rods, Wiseco pistons, heads, cam, filled block with methanol on it. Right now we're on E85, so we'll see what it can do.
But I don't think a lot of people really appreciate that this is basically a stock engine that you guys just opened up and filed the rings on.
Yep.
And you guys have 88 millimeter turbo on it, and you got there. What's your goal to run with it today?
So we actually went 936 at 131 on Tuesday in some pretty crappy air. So today, and that was only about 9.5 pounds. So we're gonna try to turn it up today and see if we can get in the 8s. If we can click off at 899, I'd be stoked. I mean, for a stock motor. And pretty much we kind of tossed this together in a quick amount of time. We still got a bunch of stuff we got to do on it, but we wanted to see what we could do in a short amount of time. So
yeah, and I was talking to you earlier, and apparently you don't think the limit of what you can do today is the motor itself. Nope. It's the actual clearance around the motor.
Yeah, so the oil pan, the motor's very tall, so our oil pan clearance to the ground is very short. So we don't have the whole suspension set up the way we want. We don't really want to wheelie and destroy the pan and oil down the track. So we're just going to try to leave very soft and just try to pile on the boost at the top. We're only leaving off about 3.5 pounds. We're going to try to leave off maybe 5 to 7 if it doesn't want to wheelie. But yeah, see how it goes today, and hopefully it does a good time.
Well, that seems to be the limitation for these engines right now. Is just there's not much out for them because it's a brand new platform for Ford.
Correct.
And we really need a different oil pan setup for it to fit in a car better, and a different intake manifold. Even though that intake manifold is not super tall, but it's still for a car you could get that nice and low. There's plenty of room in the valley for something.
And the biggest thing is the direction of the throttle body. That's why we came up with these plates to try to divert it away from the hood. Obviously, we don't have a hood on it yet, but we wanted to help some people out and actually just try to get a throttle body on it, maybe under a regular cowl hood or something to maneuver around that. At least till somebody starts coming out with some intake manifolds. I know there's a few out there, but they're very, very pricey, and for the average Joe, this is a lot more affordable issue. So
yeah, I mean, these engines cost what, like $7 grand?
Yeah, $7,500, $8 grand, I think, for a crate motor. They're very affordable. So.
And realistically, probably one of the most expensive things you have on this is a control unit, isn't it?
Yeah, we have a Haltech Elite 2500. Depending on options, it can get pricey, but for just making the engine run, it's not that bad. So probably the most expensive part is actually the turbo, other than the engine. So, but yeah.
So I'm sure you guys have had it on the dyno. How's it been running there?
So back in around New Year's, we had it making 750 horsepower, 755 foot-pounds of torque. I think it was on like 12 pounds. We had a bigger housing on the turbo, so we had to kind of brake boost it a little bit. We made one one pull. It wasn't a full pull. We let out early, but it made 930 foot-pounds of torque. So that was about 15, 16 pounds of boost. We did make over almost 800 horsepower, but you know, we didn't want to keep beating on it. So, and that was actually had a few runs later. We actually pinched a ring, so that's why we ended up taking it apart and replaced one piston and gapped all the rings. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a setup as a truck emissions motor, so the ring gaps are pretty tight from the factory. You know, not set up for 15 pounds of boost off an 88 millimeter turbo.
Nope.
But the other limiting factor for you guys right now seems to be the camshaft, because it runs out of steam at like what, 5,800 RPM?
Yeah, we get up to about 5,800 RPM going down the track, and it just kind of lays over and doesn't want to keep pulling. So we've been throwing around the idea before we put the built motor in there to do a camshaft and maybe some valve springs and see what else we can push. We'd really like to just push the platform and see what the limitations truly are with a couple bolt-on parts here and there. You know, everybody's going to want to know, what can I run this to, what's safe, what's not safe, and we're okay with being the guinea pig. So,
well, and with that camshaft, it just does not have enough duration for, you know, for racing use. It's great for a truck, and then, you know, it's a VCT camshaft, and I see you guys have locked it out.
Yeah, so we locked it out because we're planning on the built motor. You know, we don't want to worry about having to control the VCT. Is it beneficial? Yes. Do we want to worry about it? No. You know, we could use it off the line for spooling boost and then, you know, switch it the other way. But we're going to have a camshaft spec for what we want, so we don't have to worry about piston the valve or anything like that for, you know, just for if something fails. So just keeping something out of the equation for that, and just keep less problems. So.
Yeah, definitely a smart way to do it, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing you guys take this thing down the track. What class are you going to try to run it in?
So we're not actually doing any classes today. We're actually just doing some exhibition passes, but eventually the car is going to try to run an X275 with the built motor. Right now it's just going to be going out and seeing what kind of passes we can do. Not really any competitions, but we're going to see where we can fit in for right now and go from there. So.
Well, it's a great setup. I'm really glad to see that you guys are really pioneering sticking these things in like S197s, because these cars are cheap now. If guys want to pick up one and put in.
This one, I think it's going to take off. You know, the push rod motors are a lot easier to work on at the track. You don't have to worry about pulling front covers or anything like that. Obviously, you only have to worry about replacing one camshaft instead of 4. You know, I think it's going to be more along the lines of a budget motor down the road, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the things we're held up on, intake, oil pan. It would be really nice to get an aluminum block at some point in the future if Ford keeps developing this platform. Hopefully they don't leave it off just like the 6.2 where it didn't really go anywhere.
Exactly.
Because this thing's obviously shown it has massive potential. Due in part to its massive cubic inches, great cylinder heads, things like that, which is definitely a lesson they learned from Coyote. Those cylinder heads are fantastic. So heads that flow just about as well on a 445 cubic inch engine, that's tough to beat. So, and if guys want to learn more about this car and your guys' build process and your shop and your cars and everything, where can they do it?
You can check us out on YouTube, 5 Bar Motorsports. We're our website, 5barmotorsports.com. We're down in North Fort Myers, Florida. Just check us out.
But it's great to see you guys out here running, and can't wait to see it go down the track.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Roll up that turbo and get all the 360 foot for the F197 chassis Mustang. 591 at the 8th mile. 947, 100.